morning, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses, presented by Saratoga Springwater. It's Sunday because Maggie's here. Our cameraman John Kakami said he only knows it's Sunday because Maggie's here, and you said that's the only way you know it's Sunday.
Well, this week, too, because of canceling
Oh,
on
yeah,
Friday,
yeah.
I would have been totally lost if I did not have the Talking Horses assignment.
Well,
It's true.
I'd be totally lost without you.
Oh,
So
he doesn't really mean that.
I do mean that. Are you kidding me? I love you. I love you deeply.
Oh, ditto.
Anyway, beautiful, beautiful day. We're
Really
finally
is.
going to run the Saratoga Derby. It's really happening.
Yep.
And the four-star Dave as well today. And, of course, we'll be adding on those pick fours and pick five. Pick four, the last four races, pick five. Now, keep in mind, you got to check that out on your betting menu. It's not in the regular menu. It's right below it. And a number of people ask me, I can't find it. And I'm thinking, if you can't find it, I'm not sure you should be betting it. It's very easy to find. You'll find it. I promise. I have faith. Head over to Naira Bet, speaking of that, and use the promo code SPA2250 if you're not a member of Naira Bets. No better time than the present. We will match for $250 of your initial deposit. Track stats while you're over there as well. We've got a $10 money back guarantee if you run second or third. First race here and Del Mar as well. There they are, those added pick fives and pick fours, races 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, races 8, 9, 10, 11, pick four. Keep in mind also that we've got a pick five on races 5 through 9, as well as the two regular pick fives, races 1 through 5, races 5 through 9, and 5 through 9 is not a mandatory payout as it is our normal one because we had to make sure we could be able to add those. We've also got pick fours, I'm assuming on races 6 through 9. We have one probably on race number 3 as well. Yes, we have one on races 1, 2, 3, and 6, as well as the added pick fours and pick fives. Want to get involved with them with the two stakes at the end of the day. Also, cross country pick five as well. One at Monmouth, 4 races here, races 8 through 11. Mahoney being run today. I was sorry to hear our friend Pat Mahoney not able to attend today, but of course that's a race named for not just Pat, who worked with us, a wonderful man, but also his entire family. I didn't know his father, his grandfather. I'm sure I would have liked them as much as I like Pat.
Oh,
But,
he's such a wonderful person.
Great guy, and also incredibly important in racing.
Right, just all they did for parimutuel wagering within the sport. We wouldn't be here, I don't think, without what they did within the industry.
And I miss Pat as a source of endless information, as well as a good guy to talk to. His office was right by ours in the basement at Aqueduct, where we are for quite a long time.
Where we all are
But we'll
hauled
be at
up.
Belmont sooner and sooner and sooner. Every day we get a day sooner to opening Belmont. Race number 1. I don't know, Maggie. Did I just cop out and we'll take a look at She's Always Rosie losing last time? I'm not enamored with her. Maybe she sort of found her way and took a step back last time. But from speed figure standpoint, she didn't really run any worse.
She didn't.
I don't want to bet against her. I think she's the speed, and I think she's going to wire the field at short price.
Exactly. I mean, because who else are you supposed to like in here? I mean, Tom Amos's horse, Oh My Mia, got the job done when finally dropping in class in her 9th career start, but I'm suspect of that field. Granted, she beat him by 4 lengths. And like you said, She's Always Rosie just holds that pace advantage over everybody else in here, in which it is a short field. We'll see how much pace the Saffie Joseph horse, Palmetto Fury, shows in here, which could be dangerous given the way the barn's going at the moment.
I agree, and she's one of these horses that shows up is not as fast in the time form pace projector because they're looking at all her races.
Exactly.
But if you look at just her last race, she does figure to be forward. I don't know. I didn't love who she beat last time, but maybe she'll run better. I've got her third. You've got her second. I've got Linda's other horse because it's first time Linda was She's Cool. And Irad, of course, he's fairly well in front now, right? He's probably in front by 6 or so.
I think.
6 or 8.
Yeah.
Now, he will not be riding, though, on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And
6,
so
7,
we'll
8.
see what happens. And not only is Flavian Pratt second, but Tyler Gaffalione has been having a tremendous week. And he's,
Oh, yeah.
there's some notion, it always annoys me when I hear, Tyler's finally coming through in Saratoga. The guy's been winning a lot of races here for years.
Yeah.
And I remember last year, he not only started off very slowly, I think he was 3 for a ton. He also missed like 5 days or a bunch of days for traveling out of town. And I'm not sure he didn't have as good a second half of the meet last year as anybody.
I agree with you.
And he's just really, really riding well.
He's just really in the zone right now, and like he said, he just kind of took a step back, tried not to be so serious about it, and just rely on your skills, and also rely on your agent, Matt Musiker, who's doing a fantastic job. And he's riding a lot of the Kentucky horses who are performing well at the meet. I think that's very helpful too. But riding just well against a really tough colony of riders.
I agree. Tyler has made it very clear that he is very much in the upper echelon of riders.
He's such a good dude, too.
Yeah, no, I agree.
He's always got a
and,
smile on his
no,
face.
it's a big
How
day
can-
for him. He's
you
got
know?
to try to win a grade one, not only for his
his
father-in-law, but for Chad Brown, who, no matter what happens in his life, he just can't win the four-star Dave.
I know.
He's like that four-star Dave.
0 for
jinx.
15 with 5 seconds.
It's yeah.
Crazy.
I've never really talked to him about it, but it probably makes him a little. I was going to say
Well,
crazy, but I was going to say a little
well, is she-
crazier.
Yeah, right.
Like the rest of us, everything makes all of us a little crazier because
Little twitch.
crazy is a given at
Yeah.
the racetrack. It's just a question of
This
if
is
things
why
make
we're
you
all
crazier.
here.
Exactly. It's what brings us all together.
Yep.
It's the great uniter in horse racing. Race number 2. Speaking of speed horses,
Yeah.
proprietary trade, and I was originally going to pick against
Same.
proprietary trade.
I'm glad you said that.
I was.
I
but
circled back around.
I did, and the real reason was, and this is the win 2 races back. Not only the horse run against Bookham Dano and as well as second place finish is very, very good, but also this was a dead rail, and he spent a lot of time down
I was
towards
there
the
that day.
inside. Really?
Yeah, on June.
No. This is 2 back.
back.
You were there.
Yeah, I
the
was
last
there
time out, the horse was on
2
a
back.
dead rail.
Correct. Yeah, and 2, he actually broke a little bit slow from that dead rail position inside, rushed up, and then rightfully so kind of stopped in the lane against those horses. I think both of them are obviously graded stakes caliber in Bookham Dano as well as Little Knee, but proprietary trade just looks to have these on the chase. And he's the most consistent throughout here, dropping in class, where you have a horse like Apollo Code or even Entendre. Their form's a little in and out, and 2, yes, they can show up with a big race, a big speed figure, but often it's against lesser.
I agree. I don't know what to do with a Tendre because you're
I think
right.
he needs
Has
Lasix.
those big, and that's an interesting point, and getting back to Lasix could help. And listen, last time out, that was a pace that did totally collapse, to be fair to him. This is his race 2 back when he ran very well. And
Well.
if he's able to run a figure in the mid to high 80s here, then proprietary trade may be in trouble.
Exactly. And, it's kind of watching him. His stride, if you watch this race and then go back and watch the race, in which, like you said, it was a pace that collapsed, but still the fractions weren't that quick for what you sometimes see at Gulfstream Park. His stride diminished by 3/4, if more than half. And to me, he just looked like a horse that needed to get back on Lasix.
That's a good point. Temecula, you have second.
I just thought a little bit of upside with him. He's a little tough to discern in here because his form looks a little slow, especially his first 2 races, and then I don't know what happened at Keeneland that day, but his last race I thought was pretty good. And if they try to push the envelope on Tendre and Apollo Code against proprietary trade, this race could set up for Temecula, because what I liked when he dropped to that maiden 100,000 is he really went and got those horses up front. He really wanted it, I thought, more than the others. So I thought there was a little bit of upswing with this horse, whereas the others seem like they're kind of not trickling downwards, but we know who they are.
That's fair. Lightly raced for Brendan, obviously. We'll see what happens in race number 2. Race number 3. I struggled a bit with race number 3. It's hard to really love anybody in here. I ultimately went with the horse you have third. We have a similar picks here.
I'm not sure why I don't have a 4th horse up there.
I don't
Maybe
know
I
why
just
either,
didn't
Mo-
type it. It would be the 2.
Wait, it's coming, guys.
It's coming.
Here it comes. Don't worry. Maggie's 4th pick is coming in from deep space. The 2. There
Voila.
it is. Everything's complete now. We're good. We'll take a look at Rachel's Rock, who I have on top. And this is 3 races back, her win. I found a stat for Carlos David that was pretty strong, where he has extremely good numbers coming off these 4 to 8 month layoffs, which I like looking at, horses that get that 6-month rest. And I thought it was kind of interesting. And you look at who she ran against, and I don't know what they were thinking shipping her to Florida with that form. She
She's a
ran well
Florida
enough
bred.
to win here. Well, there you go. Probably the good reason. But they ran her in an open race, so it didn't take advantage
that's
of it.
true.
And then she kind of, she ran against Mosaic. Those horses are so much better than these. And obviously, I have to hope she can come back off the layoff.
That's
but you look at his
impressive.
numbers, and they're extremely good when he gives them those breaks and dirt sprints. And to me, that says they come back ready. And I think if she's ready to run a good race, she'll win. If she is.
Andy, I thought the same exact thing as you. I just found it a little tough to get over those last 2 races.
Fair.
She's a horse that I liked.
Her
when
last
she
was a disaster.
when she was running well. In New York, physically in the paddock. I loved her pretty much every time I saw her. Yeah, she's definitely the horse to beat. I am not going to be surprised when she jumps up and refines that good form like she had during the fall last year here. I went to Starship Defiant because I thought that yes, it takes heart, could be quick, but I think that Starship Defiant's supposed to be faster. She's got Ramon Vasquez on her back, who we've seen be aggressive, take advantage of finally. Because remember when he said he was going to come to New York after Oaklawn? And I remember Paul and LaDuca turning to each other, and we were both at Oaklawn and saying, that'll be great. You know, a lot of.
He'll be aggressive, right?
And he wasn't.
No, I
And it
know.
seems like it's taken him till Saratoga to be aggressive, and
good
it's
point.
paying off. He's having a good meet with the opportunities that he's been given. So I went to Starship Defiant in here. I want to use a little bit of Willow Bend. Her first race for the barn wasn't great, but I think, was facing a heavy favorite that day in Amoretti, well-bred Godolphin horse.
I think you always look at these JKX horses because
Right.
they seem to sometimes outrun their PPs. And this horse does have a back race at Churchill that's
Yep.
good, but her recent form is highly debatable. And as far as Starship Defiant, I don't disagree. I'd like to see her put her on ascend. She has races that are good, and she has that one sort of. She's a poster child for David Jacobson, right?
Right.
She's got that 87 buyer where all of us just couldn't figure out where it came from, and she's never run it again. She has one reasonably good effort, but for the most part, she just doesn't really run that well. But in there, she has efforts that are good, and I agree with you. He's supposed to just send her
Yeah.
and try to wire this field. We'll take a look at Icy Reply for
She
Jimmy
can be
Ferraro.
good.
She can be. Now, she doesn't really like to win.
I thought you could give her an excuse last time. She kind of got behind it with Deck of Cards, who's in raging form, who was able to wire the field, came back and won with an 87. Louis Rivera lost the irons at the break, so he kind of spent that first eighth of a mile trying to fiddle around and get his irons back. So really, she was just put behind the 8 ball in a race that really wasn't suited to her running style in hindsight. Now she's second off the bench. She's kind of of the horses that are stepping up, the one I thought I wanted.
That's fair. Jimmy Ferraro does not win in Saratoga. He wins in
know.
abundance at Aqueduct, but he does not seem to win in Saratoga. That worried me a little bit. His numbers, I don't know exactly what to do with her. This is a tough race. I'm going to hope Rachel's Rock is back, but she
Yep.
is not the most reliable of horses. Speaking of unreliable, we'll come to our fourth race today. And
Yikes.
it's really an incredible race. Why don't you talk
Andy,
about your top choice?
I relied on paddock notes for this race because what form are you going to rely on? I just, I said at
There's
the end of
definitely not form to rely on this race. That you make a great point.
I went to Save Us Melania because I didn't think she really looked like a turf horse. Going back to my notes from her when she debuted her first 2 races here on the Naira circuit, which were on the turf. And then Palmetto Fury, who we'll see earlier on in the card, she was able to wire the field that day. She just chased the winner, got a bit tired. I don't know, she's coming off a little bit of a layoff that day in that race down in the bayou, came back, albeit went on the synthetic.
Right.
I don't know. And I just thought that since Safi's barn was going so well that I'll go to a horse that I think is actually pretty well suited to the conditions. And at the end of the day, the 57 puts her right there.
Okay. Listen, I'm not knocking any pick in here. I didn't pick her. I'll tell you what, if Palmetto Fury wins in the first or runs well, it certainly moves her up, and you're
Correct.
not wrong. And I'm not, listen, I have no strong opinion in this race. I'm going to bet the 8. The dream continues because she went on a mission last time just to basically to bury the taco lady, which she did.
And didn't the taco lady run amazing? I watched that and I said, I picked the taco lady.
So
I said,
did I.
jeez. What the
Right,
heck,
and
Johnny?
she really now that was an inside track,
Yeah.
but she was outside the dream continues, and that was a wacky pace.
Yeah.
23:4:47
that
for
level.
that quality, a horse going a mile. So these are the kind of horse I like a little bit, turning back.
And you'll be pleased to know she fits well into the paddock notes discussion in that I said she looks more like a sprinter and she was not fit for that debut.
And the debut probably got her fit, and that's exactly why I kind of liked it. The kind of thing you see with a first-time starter. I wonder if that's the fact Jack can get it done. We'll go back to the last time the horse was on a dry dirt track, and I mean, this is the only time it's been on a dry dirt track. I don't think he ran great I think he ran well enough to be competitive here, and it should be noted this is his one dry track race.
Yep, absolutely. Ran very well. I thought just nailed late, put away, pressed by the favorite, put that horse away, and, just probably run down by a horse that was had fresher legs than what she did. So that's the fact. Jack certainly gets back to that 7/8 race back in April. A major player here. Just going to get nailed at the line there. And then you have a horse like Bam Bam, right? Looking at
I got to pick against this horse, Maggie. I got to bet it's against this horse.
stats, you didn't like the stats?
What were the stats? I didn't look anything up.
I mean, I didn't do it second time starters, but turf to dirt, maiden special weights, maiden claiming, 11 for 38. Not a great ROI. I will say that $1.58.
Well, there you have it, right? 'Cause
Right.
They're all
They're
just
underperforming.
I mean, this horse is going to be bet, and there are a couple of foals that handle the dirt.
Yep.
But it's in the stern. Is really more turf, and it just feels like this horse could be the favorite just because. And I don't need this horse as the favorite just because.
Right.
I
Right.
know Brad wins with these
Right.
horses, but not versus their odds.
Yeah,
So
yes, I agree.
I'm going to let that horse beat me. Listen, I think Coquito can win this race.
I think that horse went longer. I thought Yingle Bells was a little interesting.
Okay.
Gets Lasix off to a fast track here. Is a Maryland bred, but didn't run in one of those, Maryland optional claimers. Went straight to the
Go
away.
We have nothing for you.
Right?
Nothing.
Especially in my
Only
face.
you're probably wearing some perfume. The horse
I'm
is
not
going towards.
actually. I walked down here. I said, "Oh, I smell like a horse." I hope Andy doesn't mind.
I haven't
That's
noticed
probably
yet.
why it's attacking.
I will now. Now, that would be flies, Maggie.
But I just saw as kind of a wacky horse that you're probably going to get a decent price on. I thought I'd throw Yingle Bells in there.
It is a wacky horse race. Speaking of
Correct.
wacky horse race, race number 5, I think one of the bigger upsets to the meet is this race is being run on the turf. I mean, did you think this race is going to be run on the turf? And I'm glad to see these horses get their chance
I
on the
agree.
turf. And Maggie is tossing my horse.
This
I'm
is a-
taking the Joe Obvious horse here, Katani. I'll be honest with you, I just didn't think the race would be on the turf. And we'll take a look at Katani running second. I don't know. Horse runs back to the one turf race. He's probably going to win, but I don't trust him either.
I don't trust him. I mean, maybe taking a big stand against this horse is not in my best interest, but he runs by appointment only.
This is not a bad field, though, relatively speaking. Relative to this field, I thought it was a better field.
Okay, but they just ran 1-2 around the racetrack that day. And Vince the Prince was the favorite. He set the pace, and Katani just ran around there. Now, look, Katani has more early speed than many of these in here,
Right.
which makes him
Exactly. And the right
inevitably
rider for that.
dangerous. And he gets Flavien Prat. Right. I don't know.
I'm not going to have a
I
problem
did
betting against
not
this
like
horse.
this
I'm not.
race. This was a struggle fest.
Well, you pick Judge Rules, so it's clear you don't really like the race.
Judge Rules, he only
But
has
he's logical.
3 turf races, right? I thought had a wide trip. He tried to, I thought, move a little too early for how, the race kind of, I thought, I understood what Flavien was doing, but it just didn't work out. Now he draws more inside. I think that's a great, an advantage for him. And look, the race 2 back makes him a player.
Absolutely.
I want to give Tony O a little bit of another chance in here.
I don't disagree.
He was coming off of a layoff. I know. He's had 13, now 14
Just getting
chances.
tiresome. But
He has the races in
Donk
him.
has come alive.
Donk's come alive. And last time, remember, Jose Gomez got unseated and acted like he broke his ankle.
Oh, yeah.
And Flavien Prat was actually ponying Tonio.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden, he just got back on. And I wonder, was he really going to, give him a
No, I get it. That's
gung-ho
fair.
ride after that happened? Antonio
He may have
is
tried his best.
a jerk. I've watched this horse be a jerk many times in his career. But he's only had 2 tries in maiden 40 level.
I was going to say, speaking of jerks, Romero Ramage is riding him. Just kidding. We love Romero. We love all things Mirage.
We do.
I wish everybody on Earth had as good a sense of humor as Rajiv and Romero.
Oh my gosh, right?
The world would be a better place.
They're so wonderful to
They're the
work with.
best.
Raj to work with us, and anytime I get to interview Romero, he's just You
Great,
just
great
brightened your
guy.
day.
Yes, I am rooting for Romero to win a race. I'd like to see him and Dave Donk team up for a win. I think Mazet is the sort of the
He's a
fuzzy in
lone
here.
drop down.
Yeah, and you got to think Joel's going to come out running from the outside. Whether or not he can clear, I think the pace projector has the for having speed,
Yeah.
can have disco. We'll see if Joel may send this horse. I mean, this is the wise guy horse. I don't know if he's any good, but the
Right.
first race really wasn't bad, and I thought he was a little interesting after that. He's just been terrible since then. I bet him in his last 2 starts, so maybe he'll win today. Maybe I should have had him higher.
I mean, the only thing I can say is the last 2 races, he was a bit wide, but come on, he should have shown up a little bit more than
I
what
thought
he
he
did.
ran well first time out.
I agree. He had a more inside trip that day. It's just the outside post again. I
But
mean, how's
Joel's
he
just
supposed
got
to-
to come out running from
Running,
there, and if he
yeah.
can clear, he's got a little bit of a run in the first turn. Anyway, we'll take a quick break. I got to call my mom, and we'll be back in just a moment.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Race number. Hi, sorry. A little rattled here. My mom's fine. by
Lucy's
the way.
fine. Yes.
Lucy's fine. Discussing some plans for tomorrow.
I love it.
Uh,
She's on the ball.
She's the greatest. She has already made a couple of trips to track. She'll be making a couple other trips.
Perfect. Lovely.
Anyway, she's Maggie. I'm Andy. Talking horses, Saratoga Springwater, all that good stuff going on. A beautiful day, as a matter of fact.
Really is.
The 2-year-old. This is the first 7 furlong.
Phillies.
Who was it?
Yesterday we had Colts.
They went 7.
Yeah. Sandman.
Todd's horse.
Sandman. No, Cassie. The $1.2
Oh,
million West
the
Point.
first race.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Did we discuss I don't understand why the 2-year-old mile and 16th races go to a mile. I think they should go to 7.
I thought about that too. But then what would be the whole point of putting the Wilson shoot
Well, we
in?
use it for tons of races.
I
mean, I think,
agree,
but I think,
but
I
I
think it's
think-
fine for the older horse to go to mile. But I just think we weren't even running 7s. We weren't even running
I-
7s, and we're having horse go a mile.
Honestly, the same thought crossed my
I
mind.
just it's really up
I
to
mean,
trainers to ask for.
Considering that
guys-
we don't schedule any dirt races past 7/8, I
Right.
think it makes a lot more
I,
sense.
I agree. I don't really. It's very early to ask to go a mile.
I agree.
Anyway,
Mhm.
we both have trading strategy on top. Do you go ahead? It's half to McVeigh. It's half to who was named, I think, for Sean McVeigh. I got a whole story on
all
him.
right. Look, there's tons of pedigrees in this race, and arguably this one doesn't have maybe, the reach out and grab you immediate pedigree, but the Dan's actually 3/4 sister to Dixie Chatter, who's a multiple graded stakes
Bone
winner.
Chatter being the 3rd dam, I think. Right.
And also half to a graded stakes winning dirt sprinter. Of course, I didn't write down the name. Brilliant, Maggie. I just love the way this horse has been working. Watching the workout 2 back from the gate, was with an unraced mate by the name Competitive Market, pulled easily ahead. I mean, and Flavian Pratt was aboard, just hands and heels. I just love the way this horse moves, honestly, and looks like he wants every bit of the 7.
You
Sorry.
said he. I'm the one who gets the sex wrong, not you, Maggie. You're supposed to
Honestly,
get 'em
I
right.
said he because she is quite big, at least looking at those workout videos.
I've
She-
got her
she
on
appears
top.
to be that way.
I think she's supposed to be okay. I mean, obviously, these horses, you'd think when they go 7 first time, I think all the trainers are going to tell you they want more distance.
Absolutely.
You're not renting horses first time out at 7
Yeah.
furlongs because you think
Think
they're
they're
dead out sprinters. So they're all horses, but the good ones are supposed to be able to be effective in this spot. And there's lots of pedigrees in here. Now, we both have the 2 second, La Cara, who took a lot of money last time and kind of stunk. And this is a race 2 back. And it's funny about her because Mark Casse, who's having such a fabulous meet, but it does feel like his second-time starters ran their good races, whereas their third time, she took a step back. I think she's probably going to run much better today. And isn't she probably, unless there's somebody really fast, speed to speed, because you've got a lot of 2-year-old firsters going 7. They don't strike you as ones you think are going to be that fast early.
100%. She is dangerous because, as we saw when she got to the lead, she was quite game, and that's exactly what they're thinking here. Now, look, at the end of the day, she does have a pedigree that suggests she wants to go longer, but she's already shown that she's fast enough going the 5.5 furlongs in her second start and getting to the lead that day. She wasn't too far off of it last time, wired by Kim Chiquette. She's obviously a horse at this point in her career they've identified as needing the lead to be competitive, and she should
Jose
get
has
it
to
here.
come out riding.
Nope, it's Santana, even better.
Oh, where's Jose?
I guess he went to Virginia? Is he in Virginia? I could be wrong.
Because they changed the race,
Right.
They changed the race
Right.
to today.
Yeah.
Let's go through some pedigrees. The one, Mia's mom.
Oh,
have
huge.
to
Skippy
Longstocking.
One of my favorites.
Trained by that ray of sunshine, Robbie Medina. Has some pedigree. Could be being facetious there. I thought the Mott horse. You didn't have any love for the Mott horse?
I didn't. I don't know. Honestly, I
don't,
thought I could.
I'm guessing here.
Look, I watched her workouts. She was inside setting the pace for a horse, Tiger 24, who was entered, listed as a vet scratch, I think last week. You know, up here, the weeks all run together. And she was well in hand, holding her own. And then 4 back, I watched her with Thunder Roll, who's an unraced colt. Both accelerated nicely. They kind of worked heads up. She was slightly better on the gallop out, so thus hinting at more ground, the better. Although the Dam was a graded stakes dirt sprinter into Chocolate. I mean, the other pedigree in here is Tom Amos's horse, who I think could give LaCara a little bit of a run for her money as far as early pace is concerned.
I love this horse after one of my favorite horses, Seymour Dini.
Yeah.
With that 113 buyer he ran.
Huge at Aqueduct.
He was a little bit of a horse that had trouble staying the racetrack, but man, he was good. And the McKenzie's, with more distance, probably be good.
Yeah, I also have to Delightful Joy, graded stakes winner, and she was better going long. And this Dam has had 10 foals, all 10 are winners, which I love to see.
Shook's horse has pedigree as well.
Teanita. I mean, there's pedigrees all over
Even the 8 horse for Chad Brown. I mean, the Dam
Race.
Lewis Bay won over $1 million, and she was a pretty nice horse as well.
Yep. It's their first foal, though.
Yep.
Look.
Nothing about her.
Maybe you can speak to this, and maybe you shouldn't speak to this in a way, but I always feel like Klaravich horses are a little bit more live than some of the other ones.
Yeah, I don't have an opinion on it. I know
Yeah.
what you're saying. I mean, it's hard for me to comment on things I'm closer to.
Right.
Though I don't know. It's not like anybody's ever said to me, like, well, we like the Clarvis word. Because, I mean, I'll tell you what's interesting. I thought about this beforehand, then I remembered when Highly Motivated ran in his debut, was it Structor who beat him? The horse who
Yes,
beat him,
on the turf.
no, on the dirt. No, it was the day
And
it ended up
Structor
raining.
came back and won
it was
on
the day
the
it rained
dirt, or
later
turf.
when Win ran down
Yes,
Complexity.
Javier was on.
And
that deluge.
And I think Structor, right? He ended up being a turf horse, right? Am I getting the
Yes,
right horse?
yes,
he
he
ran
won the
down
Breeders'
Highly
Cup
Motivated, and I
juvenile
remember.
turf. Didn't he?
Yes, I believe he did.
Yeah.
I remember talking to Chad in the paddock, and he was saying how he actually really liked both of them.
Right.
And he was saying, he said he thought that Structor looked better in the paddock. He liked the way he was even in the paddock. We were
did.
talking during the pandemic. There
think
was
I
nothing else
fixed it.
going on. But I mean, he liked them both, and there was
Yeah.
a close photo with him. And Highly Motivated obviously wanted to be the better horse, even though Structor won the Breeders' Cup race because he
Yeah.
never really went on after
He
that.
didn't.
So
He was 2-year-old. That was
it's
it.
not. And listen. Unfortunately, or fortunately, all the Clarvich horses can't run, the 2-year-olds, and there's plenty.
I thought, but too, what interested me is $500,000 is a lot for one of theirs.
I agree. On the other hand, prices have gone up. I think
True.
sometimes we think it's still, 2011 when they were selling for less money. We need
Yeah.
to move along. Race number 7. Though race number 7 was an interesting race. I'm very sad that Linda Scratch
Oh,
Ryder's
come on,
special.
you knew that was coming.
Well, I know. I got no backup on the call when I was saying it. None of you.
Sorry,
have
I was in the shower.
Maggie was in the shower. Maggie was doing
I
the
was
call.
like, "Yep,
it didn't
Andy,
prevent her.
I
It
hear
didn't
ya.
prevent her from talking
I
during
hear
the
ya."
call, but she was apparently in the shower.
Well, I was.
By the way, you're not the only one that's ever been in the shower during the call. But I do it when I'm on late, and then in the beginning, I jump in quickly. Anyway, information you really didn't need to know. But,
Sorry.
because I didn't like that horse, and I agree.
Yep,
What Maggie's
yep.
joking about is that I said in the call, we were talking about Rider Special, and I said there's absolutely no chance that horse is and somebody asked me why it was going to scratch, and I know that you probably didn't answer, but you were thinking,
I said because he
how
ran
could
2
you
days
possibly
ago,
not
and
think this
and
horse
it's
was going to
Linda.
scratch? Right,
As soon as
Linda
you said
off
it.
of 10 minutes.
Exactly.
So he's not running. We
Yeah.
can't bet against him, 7-5 favorite, which obviously changed the morning line. Let's take a look at your top pick, Mr. JT, and we're going back to 3 races back at the Big A.
Right. I just thought this horse was a little bit dirtied up by his mammoth form. You know,
I agree.
Sometimes you wonder if horses just don't like a certain surface or what have you. But, you know, last time you chased the pace while 3 wide, then went 6 wide in the stretch, just a wide trip throughout. Then before that, was that a dead rail? No, that was May 19th. I
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
look.
last time was a bad rail, but he was off the rail.
He was off the
He
rail.
was not a
and then
dead
May
rail, not a
19th
dead rail 2 back.
No, it wasn't. But I don't know, just didn't run his race. I'm just hoping this horse gets back to his better races that we saw in the Naira circuit here for Rob Atras going back into his barn. And furthermore, I said back into his barn. I don't know. He may have been with whatever.
It's a little odd, right? You can't
Yeah.
quite figure out what's going on. Right.
But he has early speed. And
Is Rob not licensed to train in Jersey? Is that what that was about? 'Cause
no, of
doesn't make any
course he
sense.
is. He ran 2 back under his name.
I can't see the timing on the workouts. Did that horse go
June
to Monmouth and start
16th.
working? Yeah, that's really weird.
That is
Why did you go to
weird.
Claudio Gonzalez for the same owners? Whatever. I agree. This horse can absolutely win. I don't have a problem with him. I want to go a little away from off the beaten path. I think there's 2 horses I want. I'll start with the horse I bet last time will be a bigger price, the number 2 Joking Way. I'm not sure Charging Arrow. Too many people like Charging Arrow. And I realize with the scratch, he's probably a good 6-1 shot. I'm not sure he's going to be longer than Joking Way. If he is, maybe I got it wrong. I liked Joking Way last time. He was bad. No doubt about it. But that race was dominated in the front end. This horse was wide against a gold rail 2 back, and he's got prior form that can win this race. As far as Charging Arrow, he was also wide last time against a gold rail, against the big gold rail, so I think he's very usable as well. Those are the places I'm
okay.
going.
All right. I didn't use either of them, but look, nobody's going to really surprise me here. I just leaned into horses that I thought were going to be more forward because
You've got 2 of them.
this race looked as though it was devoid of speed.
Shouldn't the 9 go a little bit, though? Shouldn't he be forward
Oh,
in here
yes.
as well?
He did stumble, or he broke a step slow last time, and I don't know why. And I just start to wonder if you know, once they start doing that, is
The
it
form is declining.
correct?
It's fair.
Yeah.
See what happens in race number 7, race number 8. Race number, I'm so happy that stayed in the turf. Of course, we
Yeah.
talked about
This is a fun
Pat
race.
Mahoney and his family and their contributions to parimutuel wagering in this country, which cannot be underestimated. And I'm sorry that Pat won't be here, but I love that we run this race in the memory of the entire family. Pat, of course, still with us, thankfully. You know, it was painful for me not to pick Howard Wolowitz because
Where's that from?
Big Bang Theory.
That's right. Duh. I knew it was a show. I just couldn't.
Big Bang Theory is one of the great shows on television.
My mom's a huge fan of Big
It
Bang Theory.
is one of the
Yeah.
greatest shows,
Yeah.
and Howard, of course.
Yeah.
There's many memorable Howard scenes, some of them taking place at the hospital. Anyway, he does figure to be part of the pace, and I think the pace did change a lot in this race with the 5 coming out. We'll see how much speed there is. Now, listen, I don't have any argument against Mansa Musa. He is the horse to beat in here. We'll take a look at the last race. The figure comes up high. But listen, Time Form US had a very fast race as well. It's a little tough to believe, but then again, Fandom ran back to his 93s, so maybe this horse is just getting better and is going to just crush the field.
And I like the fact that he was close to the pace. And look, Star of Mystery, she's just very, very good. And he's running with her at the end. He was up front, attending the pace. She closed from further off of it, and he still ran through the wire and beat the 3rd place finisher by about 3 lengths. So I do like Mansa Musa in here. But the 2 that you have, I find incredibly intriguing as well.
Let's start with the 3 yellow card.
Yeah.
I mean, this horse, listen, he's going to have to run better in all likelihood to beat Mansa Musa. But he's been a good horse. This horse really improved on the turf.
Watch
I was
the
very impressed
acceleration.
with this horse.
I mean, he's number 5 in here. Does it look like he's going anywhere?
No.
Not really. And then he
All
kind
of a
of,
sudden.
I mean, maybe they were stopping, but that figure doesn't indicate that they were stopping.
No, this
You
guy
know,
was
that
really
horse
running.
That finishes second, or third. He was
Look at
the
him.
one setting the pace, and second.
I don't think they were falling apart. I think
They
he was
weren't.
accelerating.
They weren't. He accelerated. It was very impressive to watch. And two, you'd have to think, and maybe I'm off base here in saying so, but with well, he's a war front, lost treasure, but you start to think, well, how much give is this course going to have? It's listed as good right now.
It was
you want
gorgeous yesterday with a little bit
I
of a
agree.
breeze.
I think
Gorgeous
it should
today.
be honestly really nice,
Yeah.
really enjoyable for these horses. A little bit of give to it. It's not rock hard.
Yep. A fair
I think
turf course.
everybody
not that,
should handle it.
Right, I agree. Now, listen, Apollo 10, maybe he's a cut below these, but I'm not so sure. We look at his last race. I know it was a smaller field, but Mattingly was coming off a good effort. I actually thought this horse had run pretty well in the race down in Florida. Now, he's got to probably deal with Howard Wolowitz, assuming he can handle the turf. But what if Howard Wolowitz is not really a turf horse, and he ends up being the main speed in here?
That's very dangerous. I agree with you because so often we see horses that. What about? Wait a minute. Did I miss a scratch?
Who? Works for me?
Yeah.
I don't think they've been riding Works for me like a bullet speed. I think this horse is faster early. I just feel like they've been stalking more with. I mean, even the race in May 18th. I mean, if he runs that kind of pace, he's not going to be in front. I like Works for me, as you know.
Cool.
This is a very, very tough field. We'll see what happens. The Clement Barn obviously been struggling, but they've got a lot of seconds and thirds to meet.
Yep.
And they're probably one of the favorites to have a very strong last 2 to 3 weeks because those wins, those races, they
Often
have a
turn
way
into
of turning into wins, and they're
Yeah.
too good a barn. Now, as far as Reef Runner, I'm going to take a shot with this horse because
I like this horse too.
I've been impressed with this horse's races. Looking at it,
Same.
Princeton Advocate is obviously the horse that won at Ascot last year, and I mean,
And who's to
horse
say
is
this horse?
pretty good.
This horse should be close to the pace.
he's not.
Coming out, I know he's not
I know,
going to be
it's hard
in
to know.
front, but coming out of those Gulfstream races, isn't he supposed to lay a little bit closer coming here? Look at, speaking of acceleration, as soon as he switched to his outside lead, it was show over.
I mean, this guy, much like the number 7, he was really running down the stretch,
Yep.
and I think he's an interesting horse, a homebred for the Leblongs by the Big
Yeah.
Beast. We love the Big Beast.
Yeah, Tony Dutcher.
Who was the horse that he ran? He ran against. Did he win the Vanderbilt? I think he won the Vanderbilt.
Maybe.
I think he did. If he didn't, he lost
year
photo.
was
I think
that?
he had
Was
a big
that
rival.
2013?
What's that, 2013, you think?
Was it?
My God, we're getting old.
I know.
Just doesn't seem that long ago. Anyway,
No.
no question that Mansa Moose is the horse to beat in here. But this, I thought this, and I'm glad Star
This
Mystery is
a
not in
fun
here,
race.
frankly.
Yeah.
Because she's too good for these horses, as it turns out.
Yeah.
And I think it's a super competitive race of good horses. I'd rather see them
And look,
battle it out.
Phantom can win. He's all right.
Absolutely, right.
I thought he broke a step slow, which kind of hurt him last time. Blinkers go on. I would think that they're trying to get him a little bit more forward.
I agree. He can win. This is a super, super race. I'm so glad this race stayed on the turf. Race number 9. I'm with you. I'm not going to try to beat That's Money. We'll take a look at him winning a race that really annoyed the hell out of me. Maggie was very conflicted in this race.
Oh, here we go.
Because I told Maggie I like the Big Torpedo, and Maggie said, he's a better turf horse. You're actually right. He is a better turf horse. But he ran, and you came to my office at this race, you're like, wow, you were right. He really ran well here. And I thought he did run
did.
very, very well.
Yeah. I thought he was going to win right here. Oh,
So
my buddy. He's such
is
a
he
good
pointing
boy.
to
Yeah.
an open stake?
Is there not?
The Saranac? Good.
Yeah.
Because I noticed he wasn't in the Violet
Yeah.
this week. It's the Violet, right? I think it's the Rick
Yes.
Violet. Yeah,
Yeah.
remember, of course, our friend
Yep.
Rick Violet. But I know Todd is dropping him. I found a stat for Todd Pletcher this
Whoa.
might be the strongest stat I've ever seen.
Holy
And
moly.
I understand it's
314?
Todd. He's not only winning with 10 of 22, first time for tag, non-maidens, the dirt at Saratoga, but 20 of the 22 hit the board. And the ROI is 314, which suggests to you that these were horses that paid an average price of $680. It's not like they were horses that were all winning, like that horse that they
129
dropped
or
down for
whatever.
Rapoli. They're not
Oh my God,
super
that horse,
short
like-
prices. They were Todd. Don't
Looked like
forget, he won
Secretariat.
50% in that race because he ran 1-2.
Yep.
This really just struck me, and I know he's going to be a big favorite. But I'm not trying to beat him. He just feels like he's running where he belongs. But maybe I don't know, maybe something wrong.
Maybe
with him.
there's something wrong. Right. Maybe this is too suspicious.
Rockfall beat the Big Beast in the Vanderbilt. Speaking of,
Rockfall.
that was that horse for Todd. I think he ran very few races.
I don't
and was-
remember that horse
Oh yeah, he was
at
a
all.
crazy fast horse. I think I'm not sure, but I feel like he's got a little of what's his name? Who's the Todd horse? that
Cold
ran-
front? No.
No, I'm thinking the Todd horse that ran only 3 times and won the Carter, and that was
Oh,
a good
Army
sire.
Mule.
Right, he didn't
Yeah.
run that many
Yeah,
races,
yeah.
but he was a very, very
Yeah.
fast horse, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, he beat him. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Steve provides nothing but good information. This is the
he's on it.
This is not a
Love it.
Steve you know. This is a hidden Steve. You know, Stabile used to always think it was Steve Christ when I used to say it, and it's not. And the other thing is, like, I think J.J. Stroker is dangerous. And one thing about my friend Jordan
Yeah.
Wyckoff, he runs his horses where they can win. My worry with this horse is
Claimed away
he's
from Chris
Hartman. That's
Yup.
and honestly, I meant to say to Jordan, what were you doing claiming
I mean,
Chris
I just
Hartman?
with my handy dandy Apple Pencil, I went to the red and circled, claimed off Chris Hartman. Like
I agree. He's a tough guy to claim from. And as you can see, the form declined. But I don't think he ran that badly too back that he couldn't win here.
no,
What-
no, I know.
What about Anthracite? Linda claiming from Dave Donk. He's still Anthracite.
At worst,
I don't know, Linda.
he's consistent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Consistently
he never
losing.
wins. He's a consistent loser that always runs, high 60s, mid to mid 70 buyers. And last time out, Rider Days Ahead was a precipitous drop down. I didn't necessarily trust him, but he showed up and he ran and he wired the field. And Anthracite just kind of
Did his thing.
chased outside
Did
in a
his
pace
thing.
that held together. And two, I thought the inside was pretty good on that particular day on July 21st. So, yeah, just off the Linda claim.
I'm going to use him. You've got the 9, Eric.
Is it
Irick?
Eric? Or
Irick.
Irick.
It's got to be someplace we should know how to pronounce.
Irick Ridge. I know. He completely blew the brake last time. Now, I know it seems counterintuitive turning back, but he actually ran huge in defeat, I know, as a beaten favorite. When they went into the second turn, he was still off the TV screen, and it was wired by Mo Trump that day. I know it's Finger Lakes form, but we often see these Finger Lakes horses kind of
They run
first
here.
time on this track, often running well.
My concern with this horse is I don't like the race that he won 2 back with a 76 Fig. I thought
Okay.
that was a bad race the more I
Yes.
looked at it. And he is one of
I
the few
don't
horses that
disagree
paid
with you.
$210 when he won a race this year. Much
Yeah.
like I'm still mad at myself
Next.
for not picking the horse that
Oh.
beat Miss Fashionista yesterday. I put her second.
Oh, yeah.
Miss
Oh, she is a loser.
All right, the 4-star Dave, the FanDuel 4-star Dave. Who's going to be favored?
That's a
Because
great,
David's got him for
great
his light
question.
favorite.
I think it is. I think he has it right.
The battle
I think it's
between
right.
Chad Brown
Who never
versus
wins this
right,
race, or
versus
hasn't, I should say.
Godolphin, though, for trainers and owners that take money. We'll start with Carl Spackler. You know, the thing that I like about Carl Spackler is I think this win was more impressive than it looks, because the plan that Kyler had was to stalk the horse who won the race. And when Irad sort of seized the bull by the horns with Talk of the Nation, who's running at Colonial today, he was forced to sort of alter about 3/8 of a mile, quarter to 3/8 of a mile into the race and get more forward. And it kind of took him out of his best game. Whereas here, strong quality is going to go. And I think it's up for Tyler to try to get that position behind him. Whereas I think he's probably faster than Ottoman Fleet. So I'm going to try to put him on top, put him in the lead. You're going to try to wire the field, though.
I'm trying to wire the field.
Okay.
Exactly. With a horse who has shown that he can definitely handle given the ground. I like a little less ground for him. Now, maybe that draws, maybe doesn't make him a clear-cut speed, but he has to go from that rail position. Take advantage, Dylan, of what you got
He's
here.
going. I mean, if he doesn't go here, he's insane.
And to be fair, Andy, he's a horse that I've always liked. I love these horses that have that come and catch me type of speed. So I'm going to take a little bit of a punt here with strong quality, as maybe he's just not as good, but you know what? He has
Who is
races
so- what I
that
would
make
say-
him.
Right.
I mean, look at his speed figures. Look, he's not that far off.
Well, we were talking about this race in the show the other day, and I think they were talking about it was either Ottoman Fleet or Carl Spackler saying this horse hasn't shown to be a Grade 1 horse yet. This is not a field of horses that have shown they're Grade 1 horses.
These are
Somebody's going to be a
up-and-comers.
Grade 1 winner,
Right.
but none of these horses have been effective in Grade 1 races. They haven't been really running in them. So we'll see. And, I have my reservation about all of them. We'll look at Ottoman Fleet. I don't have my reservation about all of them. On talent, I think that there's the best horse in the race is the 7, but that's a different discussion. Ottoman Fleet, I know the pace is sort of colored is stronger here. I thought this horse kind of got away with murder and basically
Yeah.
a merry-go-round race last
Yeah.
time.
Exactly. And to be fair to Ottoman Fleet, he is multiple grade 1 placed and group 1 placed. Um,
No, he's run some good races. He has
does
the best
he
race
get,
of anybody in the
I think
field.
the biggest question with him, though, is does he get better with less ground? And I know I'm out on a 16th. I'm completely splitting hairs, but I feel like miles here on the inner turf course are a little bit of a different animal.
Fair. I'm not this horse's biggest fan. I can see why people think he's the horse to beat. I don't have a problem with that.
We
Carl
both
Spack
have
was
him third.
okay. More than looks, you've left him out completely. And you're thinking is obviously he needs a race.
Yeah, they kind of missed their comeback race.
Right.
With
And
the
they're running here. They were trying to run the lure last week, and it
Lure,
was rained
geez, I
off.
couldn't
And Sharia told me that she thought he needed a
Yeah.
race. So
I love
a
this
week
horse.
later,
I do, but
I have so much love for this horse. I want him to run really well here. I think this horse is a monster. He should have won the Hall of Fame last year.
Yeah.
His Manila was tremendous. I mean, this was. I mean, he looked hopelessly beaten top of stretch, and he crushed the field.
And remember in the Hall of Fame last year, it was
The
canceled.
rail had come down.
It was canceled, and then they ran it back a week later. This poor horse up in Saratoga.
Yeah, maybe it's him.
And
Carl
he-
Spackler, too.
And two, the rails came down, like you said, and in the paddock, he was the first time he showed up in the paddock because they canceled it whilst we were in the paddock the first time around, and he was really calm, really relaxed. And then he just second time around, he just got all agitated, and I don't know. I don't know if that had anything to do with maybe not winning, but. I just thought a little bit of a tough spot to come back in.
It is.
I'm not totally against him. Am I going to be like, I
It's
can't
a tough
believe
spot,
this horse
and he's not going
won?
to be that big a
No.
price either. So I think it is. This
is the time to take a shot against him.
Yeah, I
That's
agree.
how I saw it.
I happen to love this horse. And, I mean, Joel did everything right. I thought in the Breeders' Cups he cut him over the rail because from the outside post. But in doing so, he was just so far back. And even
Right.
though he was only behind the winner of the race, Majesties is pretty good. And it was just a lot to ask from him coming back in that race. I am a huge fan of this horse. David Argona was on this horse before anybody. He liked this horse in the Manila.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, really? And he was absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
A good horse. We'll see if he. But this is a tough ask, first off the layoff. Happy to be running that as well as the Saratoga Derby Invitational. Unfortunately, the Coolmore horse apparently is a quarantine issue. He couldn't stay. First World War scratching here and the Secretariat, I believe. Tricari's running the Secretariat. Let's start with Legend of Time and Royal Majesty. We'll show them last time out. How badly do you think these horses were compromised by the pace is the question I have for you, Mag.
I think they were. And plus, Legend of Time, he was, I mean, it's
Little
kind of
hemmed in.
evident. He was hemmed in. He couldn't get clear until right about, the 16th
He
hole,
never
I'd
really
say.
gets that clear.
No,
He's
he
always
doesn't.
got
He's always
Royal
pushed
Majesty
in
on him.
by Royal Majesty. And I think it's evidenced by the pace being so helpful for the top two that, and I don't mind White Palomino, but that White Palomino almost came back and, got Trickery as well.
I agree with all of that. My problem is I'm just not particularly big fans of these horses. I just don't think
agree
they're that
with
good.
you. So yeah, why not take somebody different in here? I went to
Guns,
Deterministic.
Take a look at him. I think I actually think
Got a lot of love for
I'm
Neat.
not sure he's not the horse to beat.
I know. I'll love a 9-2, but probably not getting that with the scratches,
Well, no, yeah,
obviously.
right.
But
She'll probably be 3-1.
he's coming, and two, he's a very tricky horse because I still feel like I don't know what is his best.
I have no idea
trick.
what he's good at.
Because he actually breaks well, and he's right on top of the pace. And then it's a slow pace. It was a somewhat slow pace, I should say, in the Manila. And he kind of takes himself out of it midway through and then re-rallies again. So I don't know, with getting more ground, which I'm not against.
Christophe is
He just needs to
convinced he
sit
wants more ground.
closer.
I agree.
Because he's not going to come from well off of it, I think. And I don't think he's going to get, a bigger pace going longer.
I would sit outside Isidoro with him personally.
That's what I thought.
I would.
I would hope. I hope he's
would.
able to do that. You know what I mean?
I hope he runs well. I have a lot of love for this horse. I have friends who own the horse, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping they do well. And I prefer him of the Cremant horses.
You
But
went to Carson's Run, yeah?
Carson's Run was a horse when I
All
first
right.
looked at I was dismissive of. And then I
clearly
started
was.
looking more at him. And, my first feeling was, oh, he is beat up on a bunch of mediocrities in this race.
I like how he goes over the big ghost, according to horses, the white white plastic bag.
Oh, I see.
Just skipped right over it.
Well, I mean, he cruises by his horses, and you start looking up the horses in the race, okay? Full Nelson, who ran a 77 buyer, has run higher figures in the past. A Brumar, who finished third at Ellis, improved 10 buyer points the next time out. The fifth place finisher got a 71. He had two 76s prior to it and then ran two 80 figures the next time out. So you start looking through the field, and it starts to feel as though it may have been a better field than it looks. And he still ran an 82 buyer. I mean, Legend of Time is running 84s and 85. A Terminus got an 85. Who are the killers in here?
There aren't
And
any.
this is a horse that was very impressive winning the summer. He didn't get the right trip in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, but he ran decent figures as a 2-year-old. Who's to say he can't be a 90 buyer figure? Who's to say he's not better? And who am I afraid of in this race that I shouldn't be willing to take 5-1 on this horse in this
Okay.
field? That's how I sold myself on him.
Your argument is sound.
Thank you.
I just don't
So when he runs
trust it.
badly, you can say at least it was a good argument.
Yeah.
It just isn't good enough.
Yeah.
No, and this is a horse I originally did not like, and maybe he's not that good, but I'm not sure he's not.
Okay.
And I'm not a fan of these horses. What I've seen of these horses, nobody in here has impressed me. Is that fair? I mean,
Yeah.
where are the good 3-year-old curve calls? I know Neat's a really neat horse, but the fillies are a much better group.
Yeah.
Much better.
They are. I agree with you.
Cinderella's Dream would win this race.
I know these horses are not running very fast.
Should
at
have
all.
brought her back 9 days
Yeah,
later.
exactly.
Bounce these horses.
I know.
They don't want to do it because she'd embarrass Legend of Time.
True.
All right, Maggie.
Very true. A little love for Fulmineo. Just gonna
Oh, yeah,
throw
go
that
ahead.
one out there. Just Boggs in his last two, and
Well, he likes a
obviously-
bog.
He loves
But then
a
he
bog.
likes it good for the ground.
So maybe he likes to give him the ground. That's how I saw it.
I'm not knocking anybody here. Anybody can win this race.
That is very true. I mean, even the total long shot Isidoro. I mean, there's a world in which he wires the field with Irad aboard.
I agree. It'll be IRAD at a big price. We'll see what happens. Saratoga Derby. We're thrilled to be running those races. They'll be part of some special wagers, which we'll talk about in just a moment. Head over to Naira Bets, though. No better place to play. Use the promo code SPOT250, NairaBets.com. Play any track, anywhere, anytime. We have track stats as well. Check them out when you're over at Naira Bets also. You have a $10 money-back guarantee. First race here and Del Mar if you run second or third. Here's what we're talking about. Added pick 5, added pick 4. They are not part of the regular wagering menu. You have to go to the different link on your ADW, and obviously at Naira Bets, it's right below Saratoga's races. We've got a late pick 5 in the last 5 and a late pick 4 in the last 4. We'll have 4 pick 4s in total, races 2, 3, and 6 for the pick 4s. Pick 5's the normal for a 9-race card, races 1 and 5, but then we'll have the added one starting in race 7 as well. But those are added bets. They are special bets, not in the wagering menu, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't get involved. And cross-country pick 5 as well, 1 at Monmouth, 4 here. And finally, we got a show slate. 1 to 2 on FS1, 2 to 3:30 in FS2, and then 3:30 to 7 on FS1. You're working sporadically in both?
No, just a late show.
Just late. Okay.
How
we'll
about
be on
you?
Together. I'm on late.
Okay.
All right.
Lunch?
You want to go have lunch now?
Maybe.
I'm going for lunch.
All
Let's
right.
go. Maggie and I are getting lunch. Frank Miramati has probably already had his lunch, but he's getting ready with the reprise. Scratch date. Have a great day.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.